Hi friends, welcome to another episode of eSolutions for UGC NET English. Now I am going to talk about archetypes or archetypal criticism. Actually, this is a study of a particular text on the basis of recurring myths and archetypes in narrative, symbols, character and whatever it is. And when we think about this archetypal criticism, the first book that produced it under this category is Archetypal Patterns in Poetry, which was published in 1934 by Maud Bodkin. And when we think of this proponents of this theory, we have a lot of proponents like this Carl Jung, Fraser, then Northrop Frye, and so many others. And now I'm going to talk about Carl Jung and Northrop Frye and their ideas on this particular topic. Jungian archetypes are defined as universal archaic symbols and images that derive from the collective unconscious, and they are the psychic counterpart of instinct. And it described it as a kind of innate unspecific knowledge derived from the sum total of human history, which prefigures and directs the conscious behavior. And these archetypes, it represent the universal patterns and images that are a part of collective unconscious. And Jung believed that we inherit these archetypes much in the way we inherit the instinctive patterns or behaviors. And Jung is a supporter of his master, who's Sigmund Freud. And just like Sigmund Freud, he also divided this human psyche into three. We know that in the case of Sigmund Freud, it's ego and superego. And here in the case of this Carl Jung, it's the ego, the personal unconscious and the collective unconscious. Here, the ego represents the conscious mind of a person. And this personal unconscious contain the memories including that have been suppressed. And this Jung, he believed that each archetype played a role in personality of a person, but at the same time most of the people were dominated by one specific archetype. And he introduced a lot of archetypes, and four of them were really important. And the first one is persona. Persona is how we present ourselves to the world or to the society. And this word derived from a Latin word that literally means mask, and it represents all of the different social masks that we wear among various groups and situations. And this mask, it contains all those primitive urges, impulses, emotions that are not acceptable to the society. And the next one is shadow. It's an archetype that consists of sex and life instinct. And this shadow, it exists as a part of unconscious mind and is composed of repressed ideas, weakness, desires, instinct and shortcomings of a person. And it contains all those things that are not acceptable to the society, but also one's own person, not acceptable to one's own personal morals and values. And it might appear in dreams as a snake, monster, demon, dragon, or something like a wild exotic figure. And the next thing is anima or animus. This anima is the feminine image in male psyche, and animus is the male image in female psyche. And it represents the true self rather than image that we use it to or that we present to others. Okay, then the next one is self. Self is an archetype which represents the unified unconscious and consciousness of an individual. And this number of existing archetype is not fixed, and we have some other archetypes too, that are first one, the father, who is an authority figure, someone who is stern and powerful. Then mother, someone who is nurturing and comforting. Then child, someone longing for innocence, rebirth and salvation. And this wise old man, who is a guidance or who has a lot of knowledge and wisdom. Then hero or champion, okay, hero, he's a champion, defender and rescuer. Then maiden, who is innocent and who has a lot of purity in them. And then one person who is a trickster, who is a deceiver, liar, troublemaker. So this is about this ideas of Carl Jung on archetypes. And then we have Northrop Frye, and he was a Canadian. And the major work of Northrop Frye, which deals with this archetype, is Anatomy of Criticism. And this what is called Archetypes of Literature is an essay which was written by Northrop Frye. It's a precursor to this book. And he was not concerned about how these archetypes come to be. Rather than he focused on the functions and effect of archetypes. And for him, literary archetypes play an essential role in refashioning the material universe into an alternative verbal universe that is humanly intelligible and viable because it is adapted to essential human needs and concerns. And when he made a study on these archetypes, he divided it into two, that is comedic and tragic, and later he divided it into another two, that is he divided this comedic into comedy and romance, and he divided this tragic into tragedy and satire, and he used the seasons in his archetypal schema. Each season is linked with literary genre, and comedy with spring, romance with summer, then tragedy with autumn, satire with winter. And this comedy is aligned with spring because this genre of comedy is characterized by the rebirth of the hero, or revival or resurrection. And also this spring, it symbolizes the defeat of this winter and darkness. Then romance and summer, because summer is the culmination of life in seasonal calendar. Then autumn is the dying stage in seasonal calendar, which is parallel to tragedy because it symbolizes or it shows the demise or the fall of the protagonist. Then satire. Satire is metonymized with winter on the ground that satire is the dark genre. And of course, it is noted for its dissolution, return of chaos, and all these things.